Hello and welcome to today's webinar. My name is John. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Artlogic. And today's webinar is a fireside chat. It's about the future of art tech, where I'm thrilled to be joined by Mike Profit, the CEO of Artlogic, and Alex West, who is now Chief Innovation Officer at Artlogic and former ArtCloud CEO. And they're here to share their journey. We're here to have a little bit of a chat to understand how the merger came about, which we announced last week, and kind of talk about what this means for the companies, get a little bit of insight into Alex and Mike's thinking, what it can mean for shaping kind of art technology of the future, which I find super exciting and fascinating. And as somebody that works at ArtLogic, super energized by what might be coming forward. And this is kind of the first time they're speaking publicly together since the announcement. So before we get started, a few housekeeping items for the webinar. It is being recorded, so if you have to dip out at any point, don't worry. We're going to send round a recording tomorrow, so you can watch it back at your leisure. We might have some time at the end for some Q&A, so if you do have questions, please feel free to pop them into the Q&A box at the bottom of the Zoom window. We'll try and answer as many as possible. The webinar will last for about 10 to 15 minutes, conscious of everybody's times. Everybody's very busy on a Thursday, and we need to make sure that we get the most out of it. But as I want to kick off, I think I'm going to hand it over to Alex first. I'm going to start off with my first question for Alex, which is if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came into the art world.
Well, thank you. I'm Alex West. I'm the founder of ArtCloud and now the Chief Innovation Officer at Artlogic. I was born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. I went to Georgia Tech, studied philosophy and computer science. And while at Georgia Tech, I started a nonprofit art center that was kind of geared towards giving underserved individuals access to art studios space. I married a gallerist here in Atlanta, and on my honeymoon, I learned how bad the software was for art galleries about 13 years ago. So we started prototyping out the beginnings of ArtCloud. My wife still owns a gallery here in Atlanta, so I know firsthand, how difficult it can be to run a gallery, and just glad to be working on tools to help galleries succeed.
And that no doubt means that you get feedback all of the time on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
product.
We were joking. It was great in the early days because I could stay really close to the customer and kind of know what features we needed to really be building. And now at dinner, the dinner table with my kids right there, my wife's like, "Hey, can you run this report or can you fix this bug?" And I'm just, it doesn't go over well when I'm like, "Can you email support at our cloud?" Um, but it is
Yeah.
great. It's great knowing the customer, and I deeply believe that the closer we can get to the customer, the better products we're building. So it's something I pride myself in, and certainly want to continue doing is staying as close to the customer as possible.
Great. And Mike, maybe over to yourself, if you could just give us a bit of a background into your path into the world of art tech.
Sure. So I am relatively new to art tech. I've been at Artlogic now about a year and a half. I've got 30 years of technology experience. So I'm originally English, but have been living in America for the last 25 years, pretty much on the East Coast between Virginia, New Jersey, and Boston in Massachusetts. But I did relocate back to London for this job about a year and a half ago. And for me, it's really just the natural sort of culmination of my career to date. I've worked with a lot of private equity. I've worked with a lot of successful businesses, both large and small, but really focusing on the needs of what I would call specialist markets. So markets that are kind of a little bit different. Perhaps people aren't familiar with how they work, and really coming in, trying to understand the problems that those markets have. How do we use technology to facilitate and accelerate the businesses that operate in those, and really bringing that background specifically to the art world. I've been very, very lucky through having a very, very passionate Artlogic team, particularly Joe Elliott. Those people who are familiar with Artlogic will know Joe. He's been around for many years, has really embraced and taken me out. And I've spent many, many hours visiting galleries, those that are our customers, those that are not our customers, meeting with artists, meeting with collectors, and really understanding how the art world actually operates and works, and where the deficiencies are in the products that are available to the galleries today, but also where the future of the galleries are going, and how we're in a unique position as Artlogic and now together with ArtCloud how we can actually help shape the industry and provide innovative and modern solutions that have been largely lacking historically for the customers.
It's great. And I think I've worked now for a year and a half with Mike. And I think when Mike joined, as somebody that's been with ArtLogic for 6 years and a bit more, that there's always that worry when somebody comes in and they're not part of the art world. You're like, well, you get it. But actually, Mike's making me go to more exhibitions because every time Mike's like, I'm going to something new, and kind of the embrace that Mike has done on the art world is starting to give me angst to go out to more events. So it's just amazing kind of seeing him dive in, but also as for us as a team at ArtLogic, that wealth of experience that you bring, kind of the structure of technology companies and how they should be run. And I think that leads nicely into my next question of how did this merger come about from your perspective?
So for me, as a technology company, you're always looking to provide better services, better solutions to the industry. And you've really got three ways of doing that. You either build it yourself, you partner with a company, or you buy it. And ArtLogic's been building its entire career. ArtLogic's 30 years old and has become the dominant player in the gallery space, 5,500, 6,000 customers. And we have developed some really, really innovative solutions. Private views, for example, is something that's been probably one of the single most used features that we have, but also running some of the largest galleries in the world, as well as obviously some of the smaller emerging ones. And as we looked at some of the services we were offering, we realized that we had gaps in that service offering. And some of those are some of the more complex use cases for some of the world's largest galleries, but some are definitely on for the emerging galleries, and how do we better serve those? And historically, we've been more on we would describe as sort of commercial and enterprise, sort of the mid-market and larger galleries. And we looked at whether some partnerships we could do, maybe. But when we actually looked at the capabilities of ArtCloud, it became apparent really, really quickly that an acquisition was going to be the best approach for us. As we looked at what ArtCloud were doing, they had, so in the technical world, we call it product-led growth. So how do you make the product easy enough that a customer can train themselves on it, become familiar with it? How do you get them onboarded using that? And how does that customer discover the features and go and enable their businesses to be successful with the minimum amount of effort? And as we looked at what ArtCloud were doing, the ArtCloud had some free tools. For example, you go and create a website or create a database product guided on your own. And I went and did that, and I was able to do that in 10 minutes. I mean, candidly, you can't do that on ArtLogic within 10 minutes. We have a much larger, more, I would say, fully featured product that can take a relatively long time for a small gallery to use. And as soon as I saw that and realized how forward-thinking ArtCloud had been and would dovetail and complement what we were doing at ArtLogic, it became a no-brainer. And so started having conversations with Alex probably over a year ago. So initially Zoom calls, and then I had the privilege of meeting Alex actually at Art Basel Miami last
Stone crab
December.
was delicious.
Yeah, thank you very much. And so, when I met Alex and I saw his passion, and that's an underlying theme with everybody, both at ArtLogic and ArtCloud, is the passion they have for the industry and the vision that Alex has. I realized that we basically had to get this deal done. We had to bring these companies together to leverage the strengths of both of them. And that then led to subsequent conversations, which ultimately obviously led to this deal being done last month.
Excellent. And I think, Alex, for yourself, I mean, about a month ago, I think we had maybe our second call together, and there were a couple of
Yeah.
us on the call, and it felt like as a team we'd been working together maybe for a couple of years because I think there's that synergy between the two companies. But that's on the other side now. How did it feel being approached a year ago, and kind of what was that like for you as somebody that's grown a business from the ground up?
Yeah, it was awkward. We were such fierce competitors, and I love that competition. I love that it made our product better. I think it made you guys better. Um, and it took me a couple of days to get my head around it. I was like, wait, why in the world would I ever go work with these guys? I've been, it's been David and Goliath for 10 years. And it really took me a little bit of time and a lot of reflection and getting my ego out of the way. But as soon as I could kind of take a deep breath and reframe it, I realized, like, why did I start this company? And it wasn't to go pick fights with other competitors in the space. It was to build the best product for the customer. And then once I kind of saw it from that angle, it was a no-brainer. It was so obvious that this was the right move. It was the right move for our company. I think it's the right move for Artlogic, and it's the right move certainly for the customer. So I got really, really excited, and we started getting more and more serious in our discussions. And the more team members that I met, kind of piggybacking on Mike's comment earlier, the amount of passion that your team has towards the industry and um, the shared experiences that we've had serving in this niche space, it was just I didn't feel like we were alone anymore. We could really share our learnings, and we could find ways to support each other, and that's what I'm most excited about is taking the strongest things from ArtCloud, taking the strongest things from ArtLogic, and kind of coming up with these super patterns so that we can build the best product and the best company possible.
Yeah, it's amazing watching the two teams work really seamlessly together now, already in that kind of shared, oh, you've been trying to do that with private view links, or you've been trying to do that with websites, and
Yeah.
each I think both companies and teams may be feeling lost on their own trying to solve the problem, but actually we've been doing it from two different sides.
So close, the same
Which
but different. It's been
yeah,
so fun to see, just slight variations, but the intention is aligned.
yeah. So now we've got some of the nice, easy parts of kind of like how did it come about. Let's talk a little bit about the future and kind of what that might be. Um, Mike, you've spoken a lot, I know, internally to us as a team, but it'd be really useful to speak to everybody else on this call. What is the kind of shared vision for the future of these two companies coming together?
Yeah. So coming together with our cloud, that goes and puts us nearly 7,000 galleries and artists and some collectors around the world. We're by far the largest platform serving the art market out there. And this gives us a really unique position to help define where the future of the market goes. We know that the galleries have been facing some challenges really since kind of COVID. The last couple of years have borne that out with models of galleries having to adapt and change to changing buyer demands and tastes. And we really, rather than sort of chasing sort of requests from customers where we get some very, very good suggestions coming in, could we add this feature? Could we change that? We actually think we're now at the scale where we can help connect the different entities, the different actors in the art world. So from the creators, the artists on one side, through the intermediaries, the galleries, the advisors, through to the collectors, whether they're private collectors or corporate collectors or foundations, etc. And really, how do we generate that synergy and facilitate the transactions and the finding of the artwork and delivery of that artwork all together on a single platform? That's been completely missing to date. Today, the solutions have provided sort of what we describe as point solutions for a gallery trying to perform a number of different functions in terms of running that. We'll have some artist solutions sort of off to one side and maybe some lightweight collector solutions elsewhere. How do we connect all these dots up? How do we go and facilitate those transactions? How do we have the information flow so it becomes more valuable and useful to all of those entities, breaking down the barriers? And in the conversations with Alex, he's got that vision and in terms of and is already beginning to do that on the ArtCloud network. And I think that's what is really making me super excited. And the other pieces there are leveraging some of the technologies that ArtCloud has. ArtCloud's already deployed some AI, for example. So there's an AI recommendation engine in terms of how do you better manage your leads and opportunities that are coming into the gallery. So if a collector's expressing an interest, there is some AI that's used within ArtCloud that will then sit there and say, hey, there's some follow-ups you need to do here. There's a potential collector who's expressed an interest in this artist. Take some action. We don't have that today on the Artlogic platform. And as I speak to galleries, they're all about how do we streamline the purchase transaction flows. Today, it's very asynchronous, very disjointed. How do we go and leverage the different services that we need if we need to do shipping, if we need to go and provide financial loan services to a potential collector, if we want to go and do the AML KYC for the European and UK customers? How can we facilitate that as part of like a checkout flow? And today that doesn't exist at all. And so we've got a number of really unique opportunities here, bringing the best of the two companies together to, as I say, help define where the art market needs to go over the next 5 to 10 years.
And I think that's, when I joined ArtLogic 6.5 years ago, that constant mission that we've had to join those connections have always been there. But I feel like now, with this merger, there's that dial that's really been kind of the building blocks are there to start putting that into place. And I don't think I don't envy Alex's position as Chief Innovation Officer to really drive that. You've got the energy for it. It's not my wheelhouse. So I think from your side, what is your kind of take on the vision for the company?
Yeah, thank you. You should envy my position because it's the
I do,
best
I
position
do
in the
envy
world.
it.
I
It is
love
the
it.
best.
I just feel so grateful to be given the opportunity. I think that there's two lenses that I've always tried to look at future development through. One is, does it help a gallery be more efficient? One thing we've learned firsthand is that many, if not all, galleries are under-resourced. They have 4 people doing 8 people's job, or they have 8 people doing 16 people's job, or one person doing 60 people's job. And so if we can build tools that make them more efficient, then they can focus on the things that matter, like building artist relations and recruiting their roster and meeting new collectors. And so, that's always been kind of a North Stars is, are we driving efficiency in that business? And the other is, are we helping them sell work? At the end of the day, most galleries are businesses and they need to grow revenue. And so what I'm most excited about, like Mike said, with this opportunity is we can kind of open up the aperture a little bit and say, okay, not only are we delivering features now that improve efficiency and help you grow your revenue, but what are we doing in a year, in 5 years, and 10 years? What's the bigger picture here? Where is the art world going? Where is e-commerce going? Where is luxury commerce going? And once we kind of look at the world with that perspective, I think we can build a lot of um, technologies and infrastructure that we wouldn't see if we're just kind of day to day reacting to what the market's telling us. And so I'm really excited to kind of zoom back out, see where things are really going, and make sure that we are delivering the right solutions, not only for this quarter, but next year and the next 5 years to make sure that the arts ecosystem is as strong as it can be and as vibrant as it can be. I very much want to make the pie of the art world bigger. And I think we can do that, like Mike said, through AI, through some of these market network effects and things like that.
Yeah, we all, I think, share that vision of we want to grow the art market so that more collectors can come into the fold, more artists. And I think, we talk a lot about features and we talk a lot about as a platform and that technology side of things. But behind that are the kind of two teams from ArtCloud and ArtLogic that are going to make that happen. That kind of human aspect that will drive those features forward. What is the most exciting thing you see about this kind of cultural synergy between the two teams that I think a lot of us can already see is um, so they mirrors so very well in many ways, I think.
Yeah, selfishly, it's not so lonely anymore. Building a startup is incredibly lonely and taxing, and so to have a much bigger team to be able to share the stresses across a broader team is an incredible luxury. One of the things that I think we both of our companies have found is a balance between being an art company and being a technology company. We've both balanced those two things uniquely. And what's really exciting is now that we're kind of merging these companies, we get to balance our balances of those. And that's been really fun to kind of see. I think ArtLogic is probably balanced a little bit more on the art side, and we're probably balanced a little bit more on the technology side. And to kind of now make this like a four-dimensional kind of cube. I'm still trying to struggle with the metaphor, like a four-dimensional seesaw, maybe, or but I think that's real exciting to see. Again, going back to the idea of like, what do we do really well? What has ArtLogic historically done really well? And to be able to share those patterns and those I guess insights has been really
Mhm.
exciting.
Yeah, yourself, Mike, were there any kind of worries or anything leading
Um,
into it?
I mean, candidly, there's always a worry when you do an acquisition, right? I mean, you're paying, money to get something, and everyone's always on their best behavior as you kind of go through that process, and that's when all the excitement is. But as soon as the deal closes, then actually the real work really begins. And yeah, I've acquired many companies throughout my tech career, and some have gone well, some have gone bad. But what really marked this one as different was as soon as we were able to, the deal was sealed, we were able to get into the code and actually sort of meet the broader teams. And just immediately everything fell into place. The code was actually in a better state than we had hoped it was going to be, based on the due diligence. Alex, I think, always knew that, but there's always that doubt. And then as we met the teams, people just clicked. And again, it's culturally different. So most of the Artlogic teams are based in the UK, although we obviously have an office in New York. The ArtCloud teams are all in Atlanta, Georgia. And so culturally, it's like, are the Brits and the Americans kind of going to get on? And we did absolutely immediately. And then just with that cultural aspect together combined with the technical, we just knew this was going to work. And on the strategy piece, Alex is kind of like this big brain guy who's kind of got these ideas and has been able to execute on them. And that complements our more sort of formal sort of product management and sort of R&D, sort of research and development sort of rigor. Combining those two together basically gives us a superpower, something that we were definitely lacking before. And that now is what I believe will allow us to accelerate at a much faster pace to be able to deliver more value to the art world.
Yeah. And I love that our American side of our ArtLogic family has grown, where I can talk to more people about the weather and totally bamboozled by it on every call. I think that's a really good lead into talking about what does this mean for clients going forward, and also a lot of them have connections, with people on the ArtCloud team, ArtLogic teams. How do you see this merger really translating into things for clients, Alex?
I think on one hand, nothing's going to change. Our cloud's always focused on continuously delivering a great product and evolving that product as the art world changes. I deeply believe that this is only going to allow us to do that job better. There's more resources now to talk to customers, to understand the problems, to provide custom, advice on SEO and e-commerce strategy. And so, if anything, I think it's will let us do a more robust job in delivering that value. And also, like we said earlier, just kind of staying ahead of trends so that we can be skating to where the puck's going to be and delivering the best value for our customers.
Great. And as I did say, we wouldn't try and spend too longer than kind of 15 minutes, and we are running a little over time. I'm going to jump into some questions from the audience. And there's one on AI, which I think is a very interesting topic for a lot of the art world. And the question's framed around, will there be an option for galleries to turn off or opt out of AI features? So I think maybe Alex, over to you to kind of maybe talk about AI and what you see as the implementation of it, the
Yeah,
platforms.
absolutely. I think we have a lot to learn, and so we will be reaching out to galleries to learn what you guys are thinking about it or how you guys are thinking about it. So if you have strong opinions, I'm an open book. You can email me at alex.west@artlogic.net is my new email address. I'd love to talk about it with you. If it's an area of concern, I imagine we could certainly find ways to opt people out of using those features. I believe that there's kind of two buckets of AI, and it's messy because it's in every headline and there's lawsuits everywhere. There's kind of generative AI that creates a derivative work of, some crawled data store. And then there's also kind of AI analysis and looking at trends. And I imagine that we can build, and as we build and refine, we will likely be building kind of gallery specific analytical AI that will just help you understand your data better, help you understand sales leads that haven't been followed up with, help you understand your analytics better. But if there is legitimate concern, then please reach out. Let's have conversations about it. Make sure that we're building the right thing.
And just to jump in on that, I do want to make it clear we do not have any plans ever to use generative AI to compromise intellectual property or copyright or anything like that of our customers' data. That's something ArtLogic has always been very proud of and has a very strong reputation of. and something that we would never do. But certainly, as Alex is suggesting there, in terms of how we can enable galleries to be more efficient and run better, is absolutely something we're open to discussions about.
It's great, Mike. You saved me jumping in to ask you because I know that internally we spend a lot of time agonizing over kind of what the best approaches are. I think just to end on a few final questions. Oh, I got another question coming in, um, which is, uh, I think this is a question that is worth asking, and it's one that's on top of a lot of people's minds, which is, will one platform be replacing another? Meaning, will one change and vice versa? Mike, maybe if I hand that over to you.
Yeah, so for the foreseeable future, we will have the two platforms. Artlogic is, as I've mentioned a few times, is supporting some of the world's largest galleries on there, and we have complex business needs that need to be continue to be met, continue to be supported, and continue to be developed on. That is our future plan. Where I think there's clear opportunity is for those customers that might be a better fit for the ArtCloud platform. Maybe we'll give them optionality to go there if we think that if it's a small, let's say a 3-person emerging gallery with operations in a couple of different cities, maybe ArtCloud is more appropriate and would certainly be faster and easier to get up to speed on. However, over time, I do see a converging of the platforms. I don't know how long that will take. So ultimately, we may end up with just one, but certainly for the foreseeable future, we would have two serving our different customer sets.
Great. We are running short on time. I can see there's one question in from one of the audience about how we could help them with services. I will get our sales team to reach out to you or our customer success team to come and help you with that. But we are at time, and I will just ask maybe one final question from you both. Well, maybe Alex, over to you for this one. Is what's the best piece of feedback you've received since announcing the merger?
How happy some of our customers have been for us. These customers have been with us through a hell of a journey for the past decade, and a lot of them have my personal cell phone number. They typically are text me, the site's down, or it's slow, or there's a bug here. But to see just waves and waves of kind of congratulatory text has just been great. There's so much support in the community that we've built, and I don't think I really recognized how strong that community was, and it's really cool to see it come together, and I'm real excited to see where we take it.
Nice. And Mike, maybe one ending point from you is what's maybe the one thing from Alex, who now you get a new person on the exec team, Chief Innovation Officer, that's really either surprised or impressed you the most about Alex?
I think
No pressure here.
And no
yeah,
pressure.
no pressure. It's the scale of his thinking. Alex really sees way beyond a short-term roadmap. Alex has a vision for connecting the different. We talked earlier just around the different players in the art sort of value chain, from the artist through intermediaries to collectors, that we've not been able to articulate before. And so part of Alex's job is, okay, how do we bring this to life? How do we need to validate it? But it's a concept that hasn't really existed, or we've given really visibility into from the players out there. So we need to kind of create a vision of that and go and validate it. And if we kind of get buy-in, then it's something we're in a position to go and bring to reality. And Alex has that vision. And for me, as a CEO of a tech company, it's servicing the art world, that's fantastic, because that can go and really fundamentally change how the art gallery business operates. And we're given our scale and investment level and team sizes and all of these pieces, we can bring it to reality.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. There are a few more questions in that chat. I will get the team to reach out to you and try and answer as many of them as possible. Again, we'll be sending the recording out tomorrow. So if you do want to rewatch all of the highlights from this, you can do that from tomorrow onwards. It will be on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe to us there. And you can also follow us on Instagram. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Mike. And we'll hopefully do some of these more in the future so people can come and join and learn more about the updates at Artlogic. Thank you very much and goodbye.